I never figured a quick trip to the grocery store would flip my whole world upside down. It was one of those laid-back Sunday afternoons, you know, the type where nothing big ever seems to go down. I just wrapped up mowing the lawn, sweat still on my brow, and was about to plop down for the football game when it hit me, we didn't have any milk left. No big deal, right? So I snatched my keys, hopped in the truck, drove my usual route to the supermarket, and slid into my regular parking spot. Same old, same old. Then, out of nowhere, my life cracked wide open. I was rolling my cart through the dairy section, eyeballing the shelves for the cheapest milk I could grab, when this laugh caught my ear. Lisa's laugh, man, I'd know that sound anywhere. That sweet, high-pitched giggle she used to save just for me. It was drifting over from the front of the store. My first thought was, maybe she ducked out of work early today. Wouldn't be the first time she forgot to give me a heads up. But when I swung around the corner, my gut twisted up like a pretzel. She wasn't by herself. There she stood, right by the checkout, her cart overflowing, way more stuff than we'd ever pick up together, but that's not what stopped me dead in my tracks. It was this guy next to her, chuckling along with her, some stranger I'd never laid eyes on before. Then came the real kicker, two little kids, a boy and a girl, hanging onto her like she was their whole world. My hands clamped down on the cart handle so hard my knuckles went ghost white. My brain was racing, trying to piece it together. Maybe she's just doing a favor for a buddy, watching their kids or something. Yeah, maybe there's a simple explanation here. But then I saw it happen. She leaned over and planted a kiss on this guy, soft, tender, the kind of kiss a woman gives her husband, not some pal or coworker. A husband. And right then, the little girl yanked at Lisa's sleeve and whined, "Mommy, can we get ice cream too?" Mommy. That word hit me like a freight train. I could feel the color drain right out of my face. My head started spinning like a top, and all of a sudden, the store felt too damn bright, too loud, like the walls were closing in. Mommy. Lisa, my wife, looked down at the kid with this warm smile and tousled her hair. That's when it clicked. This wasn't some mix-up I could talk myself out of. This was her actual life, and I was the idiot who'd been clueless the whole time. I made myself stumble back into the shadows, grabbing the edge of a display rack to keep from keeling over. My head was a total storm, thoughts whipping around like a tornado. How long's this been going on? Who the hell is this guy? How's she been pulling off 2 lives without me catching a whiff of it? I kept my eyes on them as they wrapped up at the register. Mark, the cashier, called him, grinning as he handed Lisa a bag. She pecked him on the cheek, casual as can be, like it was second nature. That betrayal? It burned in my chest like a lump of red-hot coal. Lisa always had a knack for making me feel like I didn't matter much. Over the last year, she'd been pulling away, staying late at work, dragging herself home worn out, with this vibe about her I couldn't quite place. I brushed it off as job stress or us just hitting a rough patch in our marriage. Never in a million years did I think she was hiding a whole other family. When they headed out the door, I tailed them from a distance, my hands trembling with a mix of fury, shock, and some other feeling I couldn't pin down yet. Out in the parking lot, I watched them load bags into a gray sedan. My breathing finally slowed, I was in detective mode now, taking it all in. The license plate? Not mine, not even close. The back seat? 2 booster seats strapped in tight. The glove box? Lisa's sunglasses, the spare pair she kept around. I whipped out my phone and started snapping pics, not for a lawyer or anything, not yet. I just needed something solid to prove to myself I wasn't losing it. Lisa'd been juggling 2 worlds, playing the happy wife with me, then switching hats to be a mom and partner with this other guy. And the icing on this messed up cake? Mark knew all about it. How'd I figure that out? Because as she hugged him goodbye, she said, "I'll be back after my business trip." Don't let the kids miss me too much. Business trip, that's the excuse she fed me last weekend when she took off out of town that I sucked in a big gulp of air, my heartbeat thumping like a bass drum in my ears. Then Mark dropped the line that sealed his doom, "Relax, babe, let that chump cover the bills while we live it up." That chump? Yeah, he meant me. My jaw locked tight, I jammed my phone back into my pocket, and spun on my heel. I could have stormed right over there, gotten in their faces, and turned that parking lot into a damn circus, but nah, that's not how I roll. Lisa figured she was some kind of genius. Mark thought he was untouchable. They didn't have a clue what was headed their way. I strolled back to my truck, my brain already churning with ideas for the kind of revenge that'd make them both wish they'd never crossed me. Lisa had robbed me of years, man. Mark had been snickering behind my back the whole time. Now it was my shot, and I'd make damn sure Mark's laughing days were done. The drive home's a blur in my memory. Rage was simmering inside me, hot and heavy, but underneath it, something colder was taking shape, a sharp, calculated edge. Lisa had me pegged as a sucker, but I wasn't about to lose my cool and swing wild. She'd been cooking up this scheme for years, spinning a tangled mess of lies. If I was gonna hit back, I had to unravel every last strand of it first. So I got to work. For the next 3 nights, I holed up in my home office, picking apart the truth with just my laptop, a bottle of whiskey, and this gut-wrenching realization that the woman I'd loved had been feeding me bullshit for over 10 years. And Mark? He wasn't just some fling on the side. He was her second husband, legit, legally hitched, same promises she made me, just in a different zip code. I dug up their marriage certificate online, stamped 10 years back. 10. So while she was saying, "I do," with me, she was already locked down with him. While I was booking our honeymoon, she was juggling 2 guys, 2 houses, 2 whole damn lives. I started flipping through our bank records. Lisa'd been siphoning cash from our shared accounts into some secret stash, little bits at first, $50 here, $100 there, but over time, it ballooned into thousands disappearing at a pop. I'd been busting my ass to keep up with the mortgage, and meanwhile, Mark was kicking back on fancy vacations, all funded by my sweat. Every couple of months, she'd toss out some excuse about work trips. Nope, she was off playing happy family with Mark and their 2 kids. 2 kids, yeah. The oldest popped into the world 8 years ago. That means Lisa was carrying Mark's baby while still climbing into bed with me every night. And here's the real twist, Mark knew all about it. He wasn't some dumb sap she'd tricked into this mess. He wasn't clueless about me at all. He'd been in on it from the jump. I stumbled across their texts in her email drafts, stuff she'd typed up but never hit send, and man, it laid everything bare. "Alex still buys that I'm working this weekend, what a moron. You're over there too much. Let that loser foot the bills while we enjoy ourselves. I'm counting the days, till I don't have to look at his sorry face anymore. Loser. Sorry." My grip on that whiskey glass got so tight I thought it'd shatter in my hand. Mark knew the score. He knew, and he'd been laughing his ass off at me. Lisa didn't just step out on me, she'd built a whole second life, a full-on family, and stuck me with the tab for it. Mark? He was all in, loving every minute of it. They'd teamed up to play me like a fiddle, a flawless con. But here's the thing about cons like that, they don't hold up forever. And when they crash, the folks who set 'em up take the hardest fall. I wasn't about to be that dumbass husband who flips out and makes a fool of himself. Nah, Lisa and Mark had been plotting this for years, thinking they were the clever ones. I was gonna prove just how bad they'd misjudged me. First thing I did was ring up the bank and lock down our joint accounts. Come morning, Lisa'd wake up with zero access to a dime. Next, I got my lawyer on the line. I needed to know how deep I could bury her in divorce court. Turns out, Pretty damn deep. See, while she was sneaking money out the back door, I'd been the one holding it all together. Mortgage? Me. Car payments? Me. Every damn bill? Me. So when the divorce papers landed, Lisa'd be the one stuck owing me big time. Mark had spent years poking fun at me for footing his bills. Well, now it was his time to feel the heat. The next morning, I brewed my coffee like it was just another day, no big deal. Lisa was already decked out for work, but the second she peeked at her phone, I caught that quick, sharp gasp. "Alex, something's off with the bank account," she said, her voice tight. I just kept swirling my spoon in my mug, cool as a cucumber. "Oh yeah? What's the problem?" She threw me a look, irritation flashing in her eyes. "It's wiped out. There was cash in there yesterday." I took a long, slow sip, letting her stew in it. "Oh, that? Yeah, I shifted it somewhere else. Thought my hard-earned dough deserved a safer spot." Her jaw dropped, and for the first time, I saw a real panic flicker in her eyes. She hadn't seen this coming, not in a million years. She figured she'd skate by scot-free. Nope, not on my watch. That night, Lisa was glued to her phone, yakking with Mark for hours. I couldn't catch every word, but I picked up enough of the vibe. Mark was fuming, big time. She'd sworn to him they had a cushy fallback plan, but now his money train had run dry. The last thing I overheard before she stomped off to bed was her saying, "I'll sort it out, just hang tight." Sorry, Lisa, but you're not fixing jack. I was already miles ahead of her game. I bided my time, till midnight, waiting until she was out cold. Then I grabbed my phone and fired off a text to Mark, short and sweet, "Hope you had fun blowing my cash. Your move now." He saw it almost instantly. Those 3 little dots popped up, typing, then vanished. Nothing. No comeback. I grinned to myself. Mark had been cackling at me for years. Now the jokes were over, and I was just warming up. I wasn't about to let my temper call the shots. Lisa and Mark had been stringing me along for ages, crafting this slick web of deceit right under my nose. If I was gonna tear them down, I had to outsmart them, not just out-yell them. They pegged me for a dope. I'd let them keep thinking that, for a little while longer. The morning after I yanked the plug on our accounts, Lisa played it cool, too cool, if you ask me. She whipped up breakfast, humming some tune like she hadn't been scrambling with Mark on the phone at 1 a.m., trying to patch up her mess. Every few seconds, she'd sneak a glance my way, waiting for me to mention the bank thing. I didn't bite. Just nursed my coffee, scrolled my phone, and acted like nothing was up, like I was still the same old oblivious husband. That threw her off balance. Lisa'd always been a pro at twisting things her way, but her little mind games only clicked if I played along like she wanted. She was banking on me freaking out, peppering her with questions, or crumbling into a heap. I didn't give her any of that. Instead, I kept up the act, the same dopey guy she'd always taken me for. And that's when she slipped up. "Hey, babe," she said that night, propped against the kitchen counter, swirling her wine glass. "Can we chat about something?" I cocked an eyebrow and let her roll with it. "I know I've been kinda checked out lately. Work's been a beast, and I feel like I haven't really been here for us like I should." I nearly busted out laughing. The nerve on her. She wasn't sorry, not even close. She was fishing, testing me. Did I catch on? Was I on to her? Was I cooking up something? She needed me to pat her on the back and say I was still her clueless lapdog. So I fed her just what she was hungry for. "I hear ya, Lisa," I said, tossing in a fake, worn-out sigh. "I figured work was wearing you down. Thanks for opening up about it." Her shoulders loosened up a bit, but I could tell she wasn't sold yet. "You know I love you, right?" I leaned in, locking eyes with her. Sure, babe. Every couple hits a bumpy stretch. We'll pull through. She practically melted with relief. Hilarious, really. She had no freaking clue. No idea I'd already kicked things into gear. While Lisa was busy thinking life was smoothing out again, I was burning every spare second plotting her crash and burn. Step 1, I scrubbed her name off everything we owned together. The house? Mine alone now. The cars? Titles switched to me. Our savings? She couldn't touch a penny. Step 2, I piled up evidence like a hoarder, bank records showing all the cash she'd siphoned off, screenshots of texts proving Mark was her partner in crime, GPS data tracking her so-called business trips to his town. Step 3, I started taping our talks on the sly, every sneaky lie, every twist of her words, every scrap that'd bury her in court. I wasn't just planning to ditch Lisa. I was gonna wreck her whole damn world. While I was laying my legal traps, I decided to mess with her head a bit too. I'd scatter fake receipts around the house, stuff for pricey gifts I never even thought about buying. Late at night, I'd make hushed phone calls, muttering like I had my own dirty little secret. I'd accidentally leave my laptop open, with phony chats sitting there, dropping hints I was jawing with a divorce lawyer. I wanted her to feel the noose tightening. She had no clue what I'd figured out, but I needed her to start second-guessing herself. While Lisa kept patting herself on the back for fooling me, Mark was starting to sweat. I found out why when I got into her email, not some hacker move, mind you. I just guessed her password. It was our wedding date, of all things. Talk about a bitter laugh. Mark's notes to her weren't so smug anymore. You positive Alex hasn't caught on? Something's weird here. He's not even flinching. Maybe we should lay low till you know what's up. Well. Looks like Mark wasn't the cocky bastard he made himself out to be. Perfect. 'Cause pretty soon, he wouldn't have the chance to fake it. Lisa, though? She was still floating in her dreamland. One night, she strolled in reeking of some fancy perfume she'd never bothered wearing for me. I spotted her fussing with her dress in the mirror, smoothing the hem, lipstick still flawless. Right then, I knew she hadn't been at work, she'd been with Mark. But instead of calling her out, I flashed a grin. Looking gorgeous tonight, babe. She blinked, caught off guard. Thanks. I leaned in, planted a kiss on her cheek, just to see her twitch. I could tell she was bracing for a blowout, but I wasn't handing her one, not yet. I wanted her cozy and smug, 'cause the second she relaxed, I'd torch her little empire to ashes. That night, Lisa hit the sack thinking she still had the upper hand. She had no idea I'd already locked her out of our money, cut her off from our stuff, and boxed her into a legal mess she couldn't wiggle out of. But the real kicker? She didn't even suspect what I had cooking for Mark. Taking her down wasn't gonna cut it. Nah, Mark had to bleed for this, and I'd make damn sure he'd never crack a smile at my expense again. Betrayal lights a special kind of fire in you. It's not the quick, flashy kind that fizzles out fast. It smolders, builds up slow, and morphs into something wild, a steady blaze, hot enough to level everything, calm enough to enjoy the show. After weeks of watching Lisa play the doting wife while sneaking off to her other life, I knew it was go time. Time to shatter her. It kicked off like any other night. Lisa breezed through the front door at 6:45 p.m. on the dot, same as always, hair all perfect, outfit crisp, rocking fresh lipstick she never wasted on me. I didn't bother asking where she'd been. Didn't have to. She flung her bag on the counter, stretched with a big, fake yawn, and groaned, "Man, what a day. I'm beat." Bullshit. Every syllable dripping from her lips was pure garbage. She sashayed to the fridge, grabbed a wine glass, poured herself a drink, and flopped onto the couch. I stood there in the kitchen, stirring my coffee, watching her like a hawk. "Lisa," I said, keeping it casual. She flicked her eyes up, barely giving me the time of day. I'd turned into white noise to her. "Yeah?" I sipped my coffee slow, letting the quiet hang heavy, then dropped the bomb that blew it all apart. "How long you been hitched to Mark?" For the first time in forever, Lisa actually locked eyes with me, not just a quick peek or that usual, whatever, vibe she always gave off. "Nope," she went stiff as a board. Her wine glass hovered halfway to her mouth, a tiny pause dragging out before she pushed out a fake laugh. "Huh?" I plunked my coffee mug down and stared her dead on. "I asked how long you've been tied to Mark." She let loose another phony giggle, shaking her head like I'd gone off the deep end. "Babe, what the hell are you even saying?" I dropped a fat manila folder on the coffee table with a thud, stuffed with bank records, GPS tracks, their marriage certificate, and right on top, pics of her and Mark with their kids. That smug little grin of hers evaporated. Her face went pale as a ghost. I caught it, a quick flash of fear, before she slapped her poker face back on. "Alex, what's this crap? You stalking me now?" she barked, flipping through the pages like they were junk mail. "No, I didn't do it. No, what's going on, just a dodge." That said it all. She wasn't floored that I'd caught her, she was just mad she'd been nabbed. I leaned in, propping my elbows on my knees. "Nah, Lisa. I'm just finally waking up." Her gaze flicked to the door, wheels spinning in her head. Could she bullshit her way out? Could she bolt before I torched her whole life? "Not this time, sweetheart." Lisa sucked in a breath, let it out slow, and then, at long last, quit the charade. She kicked back, crossed her legs, and hit me with the most aggravating smirk I'd ever seen. "All right, Alex. You got me. Big win for you, huh?" My jaw tightened up. No sorry, no shame, just pure cockiness. "How long?" I pressed, keeping my tone even. She shrugged, twirling her wine like it was no big deal. "Does it even count for anything?" I held her stare. "It counts to me." She rolled her eyes and huffed, like I was bugging her. 10 years, okay? 10. A whole damn decade. I'd thrown away 10 years on a woman who'd been shacked up with another guy, living a double life with a second family, and there she sat, bored, ticked off, like it was a parking ticket. The anger inside me turned to steel. And Mark? He knew I existed? Her smirk stretched wider. "Oh, hon, he thought you were hilarious." Something in me broke, not loud or messy, nothing unhinged. Nah, I'd never felt more locked in. I got to my feet, looming over her. Lisa stiffened. "Nice," I said, voice steady as a rock. "You think this is a joke?" She squirmed a little, unease creeping in for the first time. "Alex, come on, grow up. You can move on, find some other chick. I won't even drag out the divorce." I let out a slow, empty laugh, then reached down and grabbed her hand, the one with the wedding band. I tugged it off fast. Her jaw dropped. "Alex." I stepped back, dangled the ring between my fingers, and let it fall onto the table with a quiet clink. "You're not the one walking out, Lisa," I said, keeping my voice low. "I'm done with you." She blinked, thrown off. "Hold up, what?" I turned and headed for the front door. "Grab your stuff. You've got 20 minutes to hit the road." Her face twisted up with fury. "You can't just boot me out of my own damn house." I grinned. "It ain't yours anymore, Lisa. You signed it over 3 weeks back, didn't even skim those boring mortgage papers I slid your way, did ya?" It hit her like a ton of bricks. You played me." I gave her a nod. "Damn right I did. And this is just the warm-up. She lunged for her phone, fumbling. I didn't stop her. She dialed Mark. I stood there, arms folded, watching it ring and ring, straight to voicemail. Her expression crumpled. I leaned closer. Mark's not answering, huh? She stayed quiet. Funny, that. He's usually all over your calls, right? Nothing from her. I smirked. Maybe 'cause right now, Mark's finding out what happens when you mess with the wrong guy. Her eyes went wide, pure dread washing over her. What did you do? She whispered, voice shaking that I bent in close, my voice barely a whisper. You'll figure it out soon enough. Then I stepped back, pointing her toward the door. Hit the road. She froze for a second. Alex, hold on, we can hash this out. I shut her down cold. Get out. Her hands started trembling. For once, she looked scared shitless. She grabbed her bag, lingered by the doorway, then spun around one last time. You're gonna wish you hadn't done this. I flashed her a slow, smug grin. Nah, Lisa. That's your regret to carry. And just like that, she stormed off, out of my house, out of my life, and straight into the hell I'd cooked up for her and Mark. What's coming next? Lisa figured she'd dodged the worst of it. She thought I was just some pissed-off husband licking his wounds and calling it quits. She had no clue the real pain was just kicking off. 'Cause I wasn't anywhere near finished, not by a long shot. Some guys pick up lessons the easy way. Mark? He was gonna learn the brutal way. I didn't just want him hurting, I needed him to get why he was hurting. Lisa could stew in the wreckage of her own screw-ups. Mark, though, he was gonna bleed for this. Over the next couple days, I made sure Mark felt like he was in the clear. I knew Lisa had bolted straight to him after I gave her the boot. No cash, no property, zilch, Mark was her last lifeline. The kicker? Mark loved being the big shot. For years, he'd gotten off on feeling better than me, knowing my wife was slipping into his sheets. That cockiness was about to bite him in the ass. I shot him a text, let's meet up. Time to talk. He took a few minutes to hit back. Mark, talk about what? Me, Lisa's out of the picture. You came out on top. Let's settle this like men. Those 3 dots popped up, typing. Then, Mark, all right. Donovan's, 1 p.m. I grinned. Oh, this was too good. I had no intention of stepping foot in that bar. Mark wouldn't see me there, but he'd damn sure run into something else. Earlier that day, I'd made a different kind of call, one that doesn't show up on any official line. I'd crossed paths with a guy named Jake at a poker table months back, way before I sniffed out Lisa's double life. Jake wasn't exactly a saint, but he was handy. He fixed problems, and Mark was one hell of a problem. I laid it out for him, make it hurt. Smash his ribs, bust his hands, but above all, make damn sure he never lays a finger on another woman again. Jake went quiet for a beat, then said, that's gonna run you extra. Every cent's worth it. We hashed out the plan. Mark thought he was strolling into a chat with me. Instead, he was about to stumble into his worst damn nightmare. Word from the bartender was Mark had just grabbed his usual beer when 2 guys rolled up on him. He didn't even have a chance to blink before one of them snatched him by the collar and ripped him off his stool. First hit cracked 3 ribs like twigs. Second punch damn near caved in his nose. They hauled him out to the alley, and that's where the real schooling kicked in. They didn't finish him off, no need. By the time they walked away, Mark was begging for the end. At 2 a.m., Lisa's name lit up my phone. I let it buzz. Then, at 3 a.m., I finally picked up. Alex, oh God, Mark, she was bawling, frantic, falling apart. I smirked. Whoa, Lisa, slow down. What's going on? Somebody jumped him. He's in the hospital. I let the silence stretch, then drawled, man, that's tough. Nothing for a second. Then a shaky breath. You set this up. I let her words float there, then dropped the hammer. Told ya, Lisa. You reap what you sow. Her breath caught hard. You destroyed him. I kicked back in my chair. Nope, Lisa. You did that. You just picked the wrong guy to screw over. The hospital write-up called it irreversible damage. Mark wasn't ever bouncing back. His ribs might knit up someday, his hands maybe, but the real kicker? The docs couldn't patch what those guys took from him down below. Mark wouldn't be strutting around with another woman, or anyone, ever again, not after all those years of laughing at me, stealing what wasn't his. Now? He was left with nothing but air. Lisa didn't ring me up again after that night. She didn't need to. I could picture her parked in that hospital room, eyes glued to the wreck of a man she'd picked over me, the guy she'd thrown everything away for, now just a useless shell in her eyes. She'd spent a decade clawing for control, and when the dust settled, she was left holding nothing. A week later, I fired off one final text to her, no words, no big explanation, just a snapshot. Me, grinning on my couch, a new woman sitting next to me, and on her finger? Lisa's old wedding band. She didn't bother texting back. Didn't have to. She finally got what it felt like to be the one who lost. Me? I'd come out on top. Here's the takeaway, some dudes catch on quick. Mark? He had to learn the rough way. Lisa? She figured it out way too late. Revenge isn't just about settling the score, it's about stripping everything away. And that's exactly what I pulled off. The quiet was loud as hell. Lisa didn't try calling again that night. I could see her in my head, stuck in that hospital, gawking at Mark, a guy she used to think was tough, unstoppable, a real big shot, now just a sniveling, busted-up mess. She'd been chuckling at me for years. Guess who wasn't laughing now? Next morning, I went through my routine like it was no big deal, brewed my coffee, skimmed my emails, savored my bacon and eggs slow. No hurry here. Lisa, though? She was losing it. I knew 'cause she called again at 10 a.m., her voice all tight, dripping with panic and something darker, dread. Alex, I gotta see you. I smirked into my mug. What for? A pause hung there. It's Mark. We need to hash this out. We? Like we were still some kind of duo, like she hadn't spent 10 years screwing me 6 ways to Sunday. I'm pretty sure there's nothing left for us to chew over, Lisa, I said, giving my coffee a lazy swirl. Alex, come on, please. Nah, Lisa. You oughta be with Mark right now. He needs you. Oh, wait, scratch that. He doesn't, does he? Not anymore. The second those words slipped out, she cracked. You son of a bitch, she spat, her voice splintering. She wasn't just mad, she was scared shitless. For the first time, she was clocking who she'd really tangled with. Lisa must have figured she could turn this around, like if she groveled hard enough, sobbed loud enough, begged just right, I'd magically rewind the clock. By noon, she was banging on my door. I let her in, mostly 'cause I wanted to see the show. She barreled into the house like a damn tornado, eyes wild, hands shaky, a hollowed-out version of the woman she used to be. What the hell did you do to Mark? She yelled, her voice shrill enough to crack glass. I took a sip of my coffee, cool as ever. Nothing much. Mark just ran into some bad luck, right? She clenched her teeth so hard I could hear it. Quit the bullshit, Alex. We both know this wasn't some fluke. I shrugged. Sounds like Mark's mess to deal with. She slammed her fist on the table, rattling the wood. God damn it, Alex, you crushed him. And there it was, the light bulb moment, when she realized she was screwed with no way out. She'd spent 10 years thinking she had me on a leash, figuring I was too spineless, too dense, too soft to push back. But now? She was face to face with a guy she didn't even know anymore. How could you pull this off? She whispered, her voice wobbling like it might break. I leaned in close. How could you? Her lip quivered. I let the quiet drag on, then hit her with the knockout punch. Wanna know the best part, Lisa? She swallowed, throat working hard. Mark's toast. Done for. He's not even a man now. You blew 10 years chasing him, and what have you got left? Jack shit. Tears pooled up fast in her eyes. She shook her head, like that'd change the truth. You can't walk away clean from this. I'll call the cops. I grinned. Be my guest. She blinked, thrown. What? I slid open my desk drawer, pulled out a fat stack of papers, and shoved it across the table. Inside? Bank statements showing every dime she'd swiped, emails laying out her money scams, and, oh yeah, screenshots of Mark's texts, him giggling about how they'd played me. Lisa gaped at the pages, her face twisting up in pure terror. Where'd you dig this up? She whispered, barely getting the words out that I eased back in my chair. Where I got it doesn't mean squat. What counts is this: you run to the cops, and I'll make damn sure they get an eyeful of this first. Her face went white as a sheet. She knew the score, knew it cold. If she tried pushing charges, it wouldn't just flop, she'd end up behind bars. Lisa was quaking now. She'd spent years running her little schemes, convinced she was invincible. But there she stood, knee-deep in the rubble of her own damn decisions. You're a monster, she breathed out, barely audible. I cracked a grin. Nah, Lisa. I'm just beating you at your own game now. Her breath snagged in her throat. She was out of moves, Mark was history, the cash was gone, the house she thought was hers. Poof. Now she was face to face with the fallout she never saw coming. What do you even want from me? She croaked, her voice breaking. I cocked my head. I've already got it all. You? You're left with Zip. Her eyes shut tight, and she just crumpled, like something inside her gave out. Then she turned and shuffled out. No big exit, just gone. After that, Lisa vanished from the radar. No money, no fallback, no tomorrow. A couple weeks later, word trickled back, she'd holed up in some dumpy motel. No more designer threads, no swanky getaways, just a sour, shattered woman with nothing left to her name. She rang me up once, 2 months to the day. I didn't answer. Didn't have to. Lisa was a shadow now, and me? I was finally unshackled. I wanted her to hurt, and man, did she ever. But I wasn't ready to call it quits just yet. A few days later, I fired off an email, no subject line, no message, just a single pic attached, me, beaming on my couch with my new girl next to me, Lisa's old wedding ring gleaming on her finger. What's coming up? Lisa thought she could run the show, thought she could swipe my life, my cash, my pride. In the end, she lost it all, and I came out the champ. The takeaway? Don't sleep on the guy you stab in the back, 'cause he might just turn around and obliterate you. Freedom doesn't hit you like a lightning bolt. It's not just the door banging shut on your two-timing wife or some hospital ward where your biggest foe's lying smashed and shamed. Nah, true freedom creeps in slow, bit by bit, like sucking in clean air after a decade of choking. And now? Now I was breathing free for the first time in 10 years. I rolled out of bed at 6:30 a.m., same as always, but this time, Lisa wasn't there haunting the place. No whiff of her perfume from those late-night meetings, no snarky sighs drifting out of the bathroom, no half-assed morning she didn't even mean, just pure, sweet silence. I laid there a minute, staring up at the ceiling, soaking it in. I was on my own, and damn if I didn't feel more at ease than ever. Then I got up and started living for real. Most folks fall apart after a divorce, wailing, drowning in booze, stewing in their own wreckage. Me? I threw a damn bash. I shot out invites to everyone who mattered, work buddies, old pals, even my neighbor Sophia, who'd stuck by me through the shitstorm. By 6 p.m. sharp, my living room was buzzing, laughter, tunes, beer bottles clinking like a symphony. And up above it all, a huge white banner screaming, "Congrats on your divorce." The crowd roared when I strolled in. Sophia flashed a big grin and handed me a cold one. "So, how's it feel to be a free man, huh?" I took a swig, let out a slow breath. Like I can finally suck in a full lungful of air again. And for the first time in years, I wasn't lying. Lisa must have caught wind of the party, 'cause at 10:30 p.m., right as I was mid-speech, soaking up the win, my phone pinged. Her text, "You're really throwing a party after all this?" I smirked hard. Snapped a quick pic of the crew behind me, grinning, hollering, hoisting drinks, and shot it back with one word, "Cheers." She didn't write back. Didn't need to. I knew right where she was, hunched in that shitty motel room, glaring at her screen, clocking just how bad she'd blown it, seeing I was finally happy without her ass dragging me down. The next morning, I woke up feeling clear-headed, not 'cause I skipped the booze, trust me, I didn't, but because freedom had finally sunk in, and my whole body knew it. Lisa's shadow was lifted off me. Mark? Outta here. The sting of shame, the sting of betrayal, those years of playing second fiddle in my own damn marriage, all gone. For the first time in 10 years, I felt like I was actually alive again. One last loose end needed tying up. At 2 p.m., I rolled up to my lawyer's office to put the final stamp on some paperwork. The divorce was already in the books, but there was this one little detail nagging at me. Lisa's name was still tied to an old retirement account she'd let slip her mind. I had my lawyer cut her out of it for good. When I scribbled my signature on those papers, something clicked inside, like a lock snapping shut. That was it, the last string binding us, snipped clean. I let out a long breath and gave my lawyer a handshake. "Congrats," he said. "She's officially history." I grinned. "You're damn right she is." A few weeks later, curiosity got the better of me. I had to know what became of Mark, so I made a couple calls to dig around. Turns out, when Lisa's life went up in flames, his followed right after. His job? Gone. Medical bills ate up every dime he had. His buddies? They ditched him the second he couldn't strut around like the smug jackass they'd known. And Lisa? She'd been crashing with him, until it hit her he was a dried-up well. She walked out on him just like she did me, only this time, there was no safety net, no new guy lined up, just a smashed, pitiful Mark, left solo, powerless, wrecked. Talk about poetic payback. Lisa had picked Mark over me for a decade. Now she couldn't even stomach looking at him, and he was too broken to do a damn thing about her bailing. The sweetest revenge? Kicking life into gear again. And that's what I did. I dipped my toes back into dating, taking it slow, keeping my guard up. Then I met Hannah. She was a breath of fresh air compared to Lisa, no lies, no head games, just honest-to-God joy. One night, sprawled on my couch, cracking up at some dumb flick, it hit me, I wasn't just scraping by anymore. I was legit happy. I didn't just beat Lisa and Mark, I'd snatched my whole life back. Never thought Lisa'd pop up again, but she did, one final swing. A short email landed in my inbox, no subject, just a handful of words, "Hope you're happy, Alex." I stared at the screen for a beat, then typed back, "I am." Hit send, blocked her for good, and that was that. Folks say revenge is all about smashing the ones who screwed you, but that's off the mark. It's about grabbing the wheel again. It's showing yourself, and them, they didn't break you for good. Lisa thought she'd crushed me. Mark figured he'd made a fool of me. Now they're just echoes fading out, and me? I'm free as hell. Here's the real kicker, people claim time fixes everything, but that's bullshit. Time doesn't patch you up, moving on does. And I damn well done it. Some scars don't vanish. They soften up, turn into marks, little trophies from the fights you made it through. But every now and then, when you're not looking, the past sneaks back in. For me, it showed up as a single phone call. 4 years had passed since Lisa stormed out of my place for the last time, 4 years since I'd ripped her world apart, left Mark in shambles, and kept on trucking. She barely crossed my mind anymore, until that afternoon when my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I nearly let it slide, but some gut itch told me to pick it up. So I did. Alex? That voice, damn, it had been years, and I could hardly place it. Lisa. I kicked back in my chair, smirking. Well, holy shit, if it ain't my all-time favorite ex. What's the occasion? She let out a shaky breath. I wasn't sure you'd even answer. Me neither, I said, letting the words hang. A beat of quiet stretched out. Then, in a tone that didn't even sound like the Lisa I used to know, she muttered, I've gotta see you. I should have shut it down right there. I didn't owe her a damn thing. But that little itch of curiosity got me, so I caved. We settled on a spot, a little downtown cafe, neutral turf, out in the open. I rolled in 10 minutes early, scoping the place out. Then I spotted her. And for the first time ever, I almost didn't know who I was looking at. Lisa looked worn out, not just older in the face, but like her soul had been wrung dry. Gone were the flashy designer get-ups and pricey bling, just faded jeans, a plain sweater, and eyes that screamed exhaustion. I slid into the seat across from her. So, you wanted to talk, I said, keeping it simple. She swallowed hard and nodded. Yeah. Hell, I don't even know how to kick this off. Lisa's fingers twitched, drumming nervously on her coffee mug. I screwed up big time, Alex. I arched an eyebrow. No kidding. A weak, pitiful chuckle slipped out of her. Yeah, I had that coming. I didn't say a word. Let her stew in it. After all that went down. I just needed to tell you I'm sorry. I studied her close, hunting for some angle, some bullshit, some play, but there was nothing. No cocky front, no crocodile tears, just raw, real regret staring back at me. I let out a slow breath and leaned back. Why spill this now, Lisa? Her jaw tightened up. 'Cause I've got nothing left. Her voice broke apart. Mark's gone. The money's dried up. Friends, family, everything I stacked up, it's all dust now. I sipped my coffee, cool as ever. You built it all on a house of cards, Lisa. Lies collapse eventually. She dropped her gaze, shame washing over her. I see that clear as day now. Lisa locked eyes with me, like she was fishing for something, maybe a pardon, maybe a lifeline. I couldn't tell. But one thing I knew for damn sure. I don't hate you anymore, Lisa, I said at last. Her head jerked up, eyes popping wide. You don't? I shook my head. Nah. Hating you was too much damn work. You ain't worth the effort these days. Tears welled up fast. She swiped them away quick, nodding. Everything you threw at me, I earned it. I didn't push back. She wasn't wrong. Her breath came out shaky. You ever wonder about what we used to have? I tilted my head a bit. What did we have, Lisa? She started to answer, then clamped her mouth shut. 'Cause the real answer? We didn't have Jack. Not now. And honestly, not ever. Her shoulders sagged, like the fight had finally drained out of her. She knew I was gone for good. I won't bug you again, Alex. I gave her a nod. Look after yourself, Lisa. And that was it. She got up and walked off. No big scene, no final zinger, just a woman who'd finally swallowed the bitter pill of her own mess. Me? I stayed put, sipping my coffee, watching the door ease shut behind her. And I cracked a smile. For the first time in years, she was really, truly out of my life. Revenge feels damn good, but kicking the past to the curb? That's the real win. Lisa thought she'd ground me into nothing, thought she'd shattered me, humiliated me, left me worthless. But when the smoke cleared, she was the one with empty hands. Me? I was free, happier, tougher, and at long last, at peace.